Hi, I'm Chris License, and welcome back to Our License to Travel. Today, we're going to share our experience with dual blowouts, one on each side of our fifth wheel and on our rig's rear axle. And yes, in spite of pulling over quickly, the belts on those 14-ply China bombs had done almost instantaneous damage to the underside and skirting of our beautiful 390 RK Solitude. We were just inside Idaho at the time, heading back to Arizona to spend the winter as we usually do. It's quite a story and experience we don't really look forward to repeating anytime soon. We'll include a link to that video up here. Word to the wise, most travelers have told us that it's not if, but when it'll happen to you. That's just great. But there are some things you can do to mitigate that experience. For example, we are almost religious about our TPMS. That's a tire pressure monitoring system. We check tire pressures before, after, and during every drive. Not to mention, whenever we pull over for a rest or fuel, always inspecting all tires for damage, foreign objects, bubbles, even wear patterns. We double up on checking temperatures of the rubber and the brake drums. Whenever we park for more than an overnighter, we deploy our tire covers and keep the rubber clean and treated to help with UV and cracking. Our unofficial rule was no RV tire over 3 years on the rig, and we're going to change out these when we got back. But they beat us to it. Now there is something we've been looking at. It's by a company called Fenders. They build aftermarket wheel wells custom fit to the size of your RV. Most fifth wheels don't really have fenders. These things are touted as being able to contain the frag coming from those disintegrating China specials and seem quite promising. Their cost seems reasonable, especially if you consider the amount of bucks that insurance had to pay out and the inconvenience we had to deal with. They might be a viable option. Check this out. There are some good sides to this experience and some unforeseeable, at least for us, consequences. We contacted our insurance company, Progressive, right away, but first we had to shell out nearly $1,000 for new tires and a cheap metal rim as a temporary replacement for the one that was destroyed before we could stop on the side of the road. We're gonna trust those other China specials to make it back home with the second blowout only 5 minutes down the road after getting the spare on from the first, which by the way cost us nearly $1,000 to have a tire service bring out a tire and remove and replace it to the one good rim, plus 45 minutes with a metal pry bar to remove the old belt which had wrapped around the axle and the drum. After getting home, Progressive promptly came out and made an estimate for the damages. We told them that our facility of choice would be Affinity RV in Prescott Valley. Great work, guaranteed, and could fit us in quickly. Progressive and Affinity communicated. We drove up to have the dealer evaluate what was needed. Then they wrote a supplemental to the insurer, which was paid promptly. And this is where the bottleneck comes in. The manufacturer, who we think is awesome, was having problems sourcing materials needed to effect the repairs. That caused everything to grind to a near halt. The RV industry was backlogged and we were caught right in the middle. So the ultimate decision was to decide if we wanted to chance continuing with our travels with a damaged rig or sit and wait for repairs. It has been difficult, but our safety and the safety of others out on the road are our ultimate priority. So we sat brokenhearted. Please, don't go there. Months later, we got a call from Affinity that the parts were in and we could schedule the repairs. Okay, so let's throw another monkey in the wrench.
Can't speed up by anybody now. You think you're better than me? What you think? Oh, I don't like the way you drive. What, you got a fancy new what?
All right, back in the trunk.
Both Shelley and I had scheduled doctor's appointments, which are about as scarce as hen's teeth, for the next couple of months and weren't about to cancel and reschedule. So we scheduled our repairs for this last week. The dealer figured drive up on Thursday and we'd be heading home on Friday or Saturday at the latest. Another $500 or so for the 4 nights in a hotel, but it would be done and maybe a slight chance to do a little traveling, right? Not so fast, bucko. Affinity and their mechanics, especially ours, Josh, and his apprentice, were amazing. They got the skirting at the rear of the rig off and reinforced the thin waterproofing tape with some 5/8" wood and metal underlayment. They sealed it, then welded the new supports and basically addressed all the tire damage. They opened the crate from the manufacturer with the 2 mirror image skirts, which I would note had different part numbers stamped on the crate, put the curbside or passenger side on, and then realized that the manufacturer had sent 2 curbside panels and no roadside. They got on the phone immediately and called Grand Design. They paid to have the part overnighted to them, close to $1,000, and then they called us. Out of the kindness of their heart and to help save us from having to spend more on a hotel room, they offered us the opportunity to have them move the RV out on the front ramp and plug us into 50 amps and give us a garden hose. Yeah, we did. They even have a dump station on site and a propane refill bulk tank as well. Of course, we weren't batting anywhere near 1,000. The overnight didn't make it to their shop till late Tuesday morning. 2 hours later, the part was installed. And I might add that those 2 flats did enough damage that they had to realign the compartment doors on both sides below those slides. So here's how good this shop is. Josh, our mechanic, asked us about the slides in our kitchen. Were we having problems with them? We'll leave a link to that video up here. We told him yeah, so he took some measurements on our kitchen floor and told us that it was bowed, and that both slides, Schwintek systems, needed to be replaced and the floor needed reinforcement. Yeah, our jaws dropped. He went on to say that there was a TSB, a technical service bulletin, out on this problem, and that Grand Design should cover it. It would take them 2 days, that's 1 night, to do all the mods. They would contact Grand Design with the measurements and then contact us to reschedule another appointment. This time only a 1-night hotel stay to have this issue addressed. Now just imagine if we had not stayed and had been somewhere out on the road away from our trusted service center and one or both slides failed. It could have completely ruined that season. Someone was definitely working in strange and mysterious ways to look out for us. This saga continues, but we will keep you updated on the latest. For now, all of you folks out there with the early models 390 RK Solitudes, ask your trusted service center to evaluate your rig for the floor support modifications and slide rebuilds to the kitchen. I think that they will also check the bedroom at the same time to see if it's needed as well. Do it now to save you some heartache. Other than the slides acting up, the only other indicator we had was a creak. a creak in the floor forward of the island in the kitchen, of course, because the floor was bowed. It seems that putting those compartment doors below the rear slides involved removing supports from the sidewall for the floor, and in the early models, someone neglected to add bracing to prevent the bowing. The TSB addresses that. Well, here we sit, broken-hearted. I know, but don't go there. But happy that our home will be basically like new when they're done. This should about do it for today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos about RVs and RVing, hit that subscribe button. If we don't see you on the road, maybe we'll see you in the next video. Please, travel safe.